Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Cooking Websites, where I show you my favorite web design tools that I use all the time to build a website. And this episode will be dedicated to accessibility tools because 1 in 6 people around the world have some sort of a disability. So that's really something we have to think about. So in this video, I'll show you tools that I use to design accessible designs and some tools that I use to test the accessibility of the designs that I make. And in the meantime, I will tear apart one of my designs where I did not use these tools. We will start with Funkify, which is a disability simulator. This is not necessarily a tool you have to use all the time, but I've really wanted to show this one as the first one, because sometimes we design these things without actually knowing how people see the websites, people who have disabilities. So let me show you. There are multiple options to choose from. For example, just blurry vision. 4% of people have vision impairment. I don't see in the distance, but I think I'm in the minority. So even see the little contrast here is already causing issues with how you can read. 8% of men have color vision deficiency, apparently. So that is also something to keep in mind. One that really opened my eyes to something that I had never really thought about was, they have silly names, but trembling. When you have trembling hands, do you see that? How difficult it is to click on something. And this is really something to think about when you're designing like small, intricate buttons or something. That is, some people might have a hard time clicking on them. Like, for example, an elderly woman who not only has difficulty seeing the text, but also clicking on it. So another thing that's very, very important here, Robin Robot is going to show us what a screen reader sees when a screen reader is reading this page. So a screen reader is a reader that will read your screen and tell a person with visual impairment what's on it. So text is pretty straightforward, but when it comes to images, it's a little more difficult. So for example, this one just says video container. So that means the title most likely is just video container, but that does not say anything about what's actually in the video. So that's something to think about to all images. So that's the alt attribute titles. They need to describe what's on the image. Let's move on to the actual first tool, which in this case will be obviously a contrast checker. I cannot make a video about accessibility without talking about a contrast checker, because that's the easiest way for us to make our designs accessible. And it's easy to check as well. I use Figma mostly for my designs. That's why I use a Figma plugin. This is the one that I usually use. It's called Stark, but there are so many out there. So, for example, I can already kind of guess that this button is not that accessible. I can read it perfectly well, but the contrast doesn't seem high enough. So when we click on this, you can see that errors all the way, all X's. So apparently it's not that legible as I think. So we can go darker, 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 apply to layer, and adjust accordingly, obviously. So that's something you do in the initial designing phase. But another tool that I like to use is Google Lighthouse or Page Speed Insights. So this is the extension, and we can generate a report. So Page Speed Insights will generate a report of performance. So we will scroll down a little bit. This is the mobile version though. So we will scroll down to accessibility, and here it is. There's not sufficient contrast. Here in the menu, which I suspected already, and the button as well. So here you would go through, adjust accordingly. Maybe if you don't design, so this could be helpful if you're taking over a site maybe, or creating the design in like a builder already. Either way, very handy and easy to just see what's going on. Last but not least is what I already touched on a little bit, is how important it is to write descriptions for your images, the alt text and the titles. But sometimes you miss them. And if you have a big website, a lot of images, and you don't want to go through all of them, you can use a tool like SEO. I think the name is a little bit different. You will have a link below, but this is a free SEO analyzer, which will analyze your page and show you where you have missing alt tags, which were the tags that screen readers read to tell people with visual impairments what's on that image. So let's scroll down. And yep, some images don't have an alt attribute. The thing here is that it will show you the URL. So you will have to locate it on your page. A tool like SEMrush, for example, if you use it for SEO, it will show you a link to you can add the whole site. It will show you the link to the page and image. But I think that's paid. That's paid if you want to use it on multiple websites. So this is a very handy and free tool. And I build my websites on WordPress. So what I would do, I would go to the media library. What was it here? Video container. I will find a video container here. And I would add an alternative text and title. For example, video container doesn't say much. It's promo video for instance hub. And here in the alt text, we can add even more descriptive information. Promotional video with some of our artists. And we would have that saved. And now when a person is using a screen reader, they will have an easy time understanding what's on our page. To prepare for the video, I tried a bunch of screen readers. For example, the Mac one that's built in, it was really difficult to understand. Some are too loud. I had no idea how to turn it off. So safe to say that life is hard enough for people with any type of disability. And the least we can do is make our websites accessible to as many people as we can. I hope any of this was helpful. And thank you all for watching this episode of Cooking Websites. And I'll see you in the next one.